The fact that it came to you for free doesn't mean that it didn't cost anything at all. This is a maturity that every believer has to come to, is that everything costs something. Only children think that what they have costs nothing. It's like a child leaving the milk out on the counter because the child doesn't think it cost anything. But to mama who had to go out there and work and get it, you're busy trying to put it back in the refrigerator. The fact that they drank it for free doesn't mean that you bought it for free. Come on, somebody. I'm going to keep on until you see this thing. Touch your neighbor and say it costs something. See, one of the problems, anytime you receive generosity, it's a blessing, but it's deceptive. It's deceptive because you can walk into something so easy that you think it costs you nothing. But to him whom much is given, I will say that again. To him whom much is given, to him who just got through dancing, to the one who just got through shouting, talking about, look what the Lord has done, I want you to know you're not going to get away clean. The fact that much has been given does not mean that much is not required. One of the worst things that we can do with raising children is give them too much too fast. It's the biggest mistake successful people make. You worked like a dog, came from nothing to get something so that your children wouldn't have to go through what you went through, when it is what you went through that made you who you are. And then you get upset because they don't respond and appreciate things. They have no reason to appreciate anything, because if you came easy, you let it go easy. But when you had to fight for it, you don't let it go without a struggle. I wish I had some help in here. And it is a problem. David is a man of God that walks in great grace. He's a shepherd boy. He's the 8th son of Jesse. He's raised out in the woods taking care of sheep. And yet God has appointed him to be king. He doesn't take king classes. He doesn't go to king school. He doesn't have a degree in kingship. He wasn't raised in the palace. He wasn't exposed to palace protocol. God just picked him up, smelling like sheep dung, and pulled him into a situation that was absolutely amazing. And all of a sudden, he is training and leading and developing people that he, in an area where he has never been trained himself. I'm talking about grace. I'm talking about ridiculous grace. I'm talking about grace that is mind-blowing grace. I'm talking about the kind of grace that you have to pinch yourself and say, Lord, how did I get in this? Does anybody understand the kind of grace that I'm talking about right now? Where God just pours out a blessing on you that is so radical. And it just happened to him. And all of a sudden he's king. And he's in charge. One moment he's shoveling sheep dung. The next moment he's running nations. I don't know who this is for, but God's getting ready to do something so radical, so crazy, so reckless, so ridiculous that you're not even going to be able to explain what God did in your life. Stop needing people to validate it. They're not going to be able to validate it. You're not even going to be able to communicate it. He's just going to pick you up and snatch you out and set you over into something. Grace through faith, grace through faith, grace through faith. It is the gift of God, not of yourselves, lest you should boast. I'm talking about people who got blessings that you can't brag about because you didn't even earn it. God just released it in your life. And there you are dealing with haters, and you don't even understand how you got there yourself. The deceptive nature of grace calls you something and then makes you become what he called you. When I married my wife, she put a ring on my finger, I put a ring on hers, and immediately I was called a husband. But I wasn't. Just because you wear a ring don't make you a husband. You spend the next 30, 40 years becoming what they called you. The position is bestowed upon you, but the function is something that takes the rest of your life to fulfill. Just because you had a baby doesn't make you a mama. It may prove you're a woman, but it doesn't make you a mother. Before you get through raising that child, you'll understand what it costs to be a mother. But the baby is calling you mama on credit. You're not a mama because you had a baby. You're not a mama till you've been up all night long. You're not a mama till you took off work and went down to school. You're not a mama till you forgot to eat while you were taking care of them. You're not a mama because you had a baby. You spend the rest of your life becoming what God called you. He gives it to you. He gives it to you. Calls those things that are not as though they were. And then you wrestle to become what he called you. Just because they call you a deacon don't make you one. Not till you have a servant's heart, not till you learn how to serve, not till you put God's house above your house, not till you seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Just because they call you a preacher don't make you one. You got license, that don't make you a preacher. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? In my text, David is becoming what God has called him. God has made him a king. He has called him to be king. He is making him a king. He is training him to be king while he is king. I told him I was in West Virginia trying to build a church. I worked for years trying to build a church. I was in the woods, in the country, in the backwoods trying to build a church. I was trying to build a church and asking God, brother needs some help here. Brother been pastoring about 10 years, got about 80 people. Brother needs some help here, Lord. I got 80 people, means 40 come to church. Brother needs some help here, Lord. I'm working for Union Carbide, putting my check in the offering to keep the church going. Brother needs some help here, Lord. Can't keep my own lights on, trying to keep the church lights on. Brother needs some help here, Lord. I'm teaching Bible class. All I know, everything I studied, only got 7 people coming to Bible class. Brother needs some help here, Lord. I'm trying to build a church, never realizing that God was using the church to build me. Oh, y'all don't hear what I'm saying? He wasn't worried about the crowd. He knew you all were going to be here eventually, but he had to build me through the struggle and the toil and the test to be ready to stand where I'm standing right now. Who am I talking to? I don't know who I'm talking to, but I'm talking to somebody right now. If I would have given up, see, you missed the real training exercise. If I would have given up when we were selling chicken dinners, if I would have given up when we were cooking ribs and delivering them, if I would have given up when I was having to drive and pick up the members to bring them to church because Sally could sing but she didn't have no car, if I'd have given up, or y'all don't hear what I'm saying, if I'd have given up then, I wouldn't have got to right now. Just because God gives you something doesn't mean you're not going to have to pay something. And the deceptive nature of grace will make you spoil. It'll make you think it comes too easy. God has raised David up and set him in a position, trying to show him that had it not been for the Lord, you wouldn't be there. And then once David gets in the position, he makes the foolish mistake of counting on people. God brought him, and now he is comforted by how many people are following him. So he starts counting people. He did a census, and God judged him because David forgot that it was grace. It was God. You didn't get the victory because of how many people were with you. You got the victory because I was with you. In fact, you can have less people and get more victory just because God, oh, y'all don't hear what I'm saying. I'm talking to somebody, I don't even know who it is. And so God judges David. And he asks David, he judges him, but he judges him not in a vengeful way. He judges him like a father judges a son. He's going to punish him, but it's in a training way. He's not trying to kill him. He's not trying to get revenge. He's trying to teach him. So he says, okay, David, what do you want? Do you want to fall in the hands of God, or do you want to fall into the hands of man? David wisely responds, I would rather fall into the hands of God than to fall into the hands of man. If I'm going to get a whipping, Lord, you whip me. If I'm going to be punished, Lord, you punish me. Now that sounds crazy because God's hands are bigger than man, but so is his heart. Oh, I'm preaching better than you shout. It seemed like if you were going to get punished and you say, who do I want to spank me? Do you want me to spank you, or do you want man to spank you? You look at God's hands and say, oh no. But as big as his hands are, his heart is even bigger. So David says, okay, I'm throwing my hands I'm throwing my judgment into your hands. And God gave him a choice of various things that would happen. And it ended up, he chose the plague, and the plague attacked Israel. And people started getting sick and people started dying. People started getting sick and started dying because David had made a poor decision. Every death in your life is not the devil. Every mistake and every problem in your life is not the devil. Every problem is not the failure of God. I come to church every Sunday. I pay my tithes every Sunday. It look like instead of going forward, I'm going backwards. You bought a car you couldn't afford. You bought a house bigger than your income. You stay in the Walmart. Every time you turn around, there are some contributing factors. Oh, y'all not going to talk to me. There are some contributing factors. Big baller, shot caller, there are some contributing factors. It's not just that God failed you. God is not going to continue to pour more oil into a broken vessel. Oh, that didn't go over good, Lord. We have a responsibility. And the plagues have come, and God sends Gad to go to David and to tell him, if you build an altar and offer up a sacrifice, I'll stop the plague. The plague is headed for Jerusalem. It's sweeping through Israel. It's headed for Jerusalem. And God says, you can stop this. Oh, that's a powerful thing. That's a powerful thing that people don't teach you. You can stop this. You deserve this whooping. You deserve this whooping. You brought this on yourself. You were hard-headed. So I told you not to marry him in the first place. You brought that on your... Nobody gonna talk to me this morning, Lord. You brought that on your... You deserve this whooping. I could justly allow it to continue, but you have the power to stop this. I don't know who this is for. I don't know why God's got me going down this trail, But I don't care what the enemy is attacking you with. I don't care how long the plague has been coming. I don't care how much it's devouring. I don't care how much it's going after your stuff. God sent me here this morning to tell you, you can stop this. Glory to God. You can stop it. You can stop it. You can stop it right now, and can't nobody stop it but you. People praying for you ain't gonna stop it. People advising you ain't gonna stop it. People encouraging you ain't gonna stop it. You have to stop this, David. Only you can stop. You started it, and you got to stop this. So when David comes up to Araunah's out there. He's at the threshing floor. I want you to see this because I think this is kind of pretty. Because we live in a society that we don't have threshing floors, we don't get it. The threshing floor is the place where the gardener has raised the wheat. The wheat has grown on the stalk, but you cannot use the stalk or the chaff. You can only use the wheat to make bread. The threshing floor is the place of separation, where you separate that which is not usable from that which is usable. And it's called the threshing floor because it is through the beating of the wheat that the wheat is separated from the chaff. Araunah owns a threshing floor. The threshing floor is the place where you take now the chaff, the stalk brought you here, but it can't take you there. What brought you can't take you. It was useful at one point, but now it is no longer functional. You have got to change or it's not going to happen. So they take you to the threshing floor. The threshing floor is the place where the gardener beats back everything that is not real wheat. Oh God. David comes to the threshing floor is a play on words, because whereas Araunah is operating a threshing floor, David is also in a threshing process. God is beating his hind end. The wheat is getting a beating, and David is getting a beating. The wheat is being separated. This is profitable, that is not profitable. David is being separated. This is profitable, this is not profitable. Everybody ends up at the threshing floor. Every marriage goes through the threshing floor. Every mother-daughter goes through the threshing floor. Every father-son goes through the threshing floor. Every great ministry goes through the threshing floor. Every career goes through the threshing floor. I know it looks like he's trying to kill you. I know it looks like he hates you. I know you think you're going to die. But God is not trying to kill you. He's trying to separate the wheat from the chaff. He's trying to separate what's real from what's phony. He's trying to separate what your mama taught you, what your community taught you, what your neighborhood taught you from his infallible, immutable, everlasting word. He's trying to separate your feelings so you stop walking in your feelings and you start walking in your faith. My God, somebody ought to shout me down this morning. Touch your neighbor and tell him I'm at the threshing floor. That's why I'm not nice to you, because I'm at the threshing floor. That's why I didn't speak to you this morning, because I'm at the threshing floor. It's not that I'm so biggity big. It's not that I think so highly of myself. I didn't have time to speak to you. I'm at the threshing floor. I'm going through hell and high water because he's beating out of me everything he couldn't teach out of me. Good God, I feel the Holy Ghost in here. But when God gets through threshing me, I shall come forth as pure gold. When I get through going through this, I'm really going to be what you call me. When I get through growing up, I'm really going to be a husband. When I get through maturing, I'm really going to make mamahood. When I really get through going through this, I'm going to be a man of faith. I never will forget. Can I teach this thing? The Lord called me to Dallas. Sent me to Dallas. I loaded up the truck like the Beverly Hillbillies. Loaded up my mother and my mother-in-law and my sister and my brother and my wife and all our kids and about 50 families, and we came to Dallas. And we came here to build a ministry. And I thought it would be a fight, but it wasn't. It was a grace. I was used to fighting. I knew how to fight. I knew how to start all by myself. I knew how to preach and direct the choir and play the piano and make the choir rehearsal, and I was prepared to do it again. But it didn't happen. I walked into a grace. Shadabaha. A grace. A grace. A grace is when you're prepared for a fight, but the fight don't come. You just, anybody know what I'm talking about? Have you ever just walked into a grace after having a hard time all your life, and all of a sudden God just gives you a grace? I was confused because I came ready to fight. I wouldn't have moved down here if I wasn't ready to fight, if I wasn't ready to sacrifice, if I wasn't ready to do without, if I wasn't ready to get a part-time job, if I wasn't ready to struggle. At thy word, Lord, I'll go through hell all over again. I'm young enough and tough enough I can do it. None of that happened. Whenever what you expected doesn't happen, you stepped into a grace. My God. 1,500 people joined the first Sunday. By the end of the year, I was doing 2 services. By the end of the second year, I was doing 5. Traffic was backed all the way up 408, pouring me out a blessing I didn't have room enough to receive. Y'all hear what I'm saying to you? It was amazing. It was unbelievable. It was just something I'd never seen in all of my life. I couldn't even get to my own church. I was stuck in the traffic. They was trying to have to sneak me in the back way and whip me through around the corner. One time I came in on a helicopter. I just landed down on top of it. Jaws shaking and everything. It was a grace. I want you to understand it was a grace. It was a grace. It was an amazing grace. They were talking about me like a dog on the radio. I was listening at them talk about me while I was driving in. Glory to God. But the more they talked about me, the more God blessed me. It was a grace. It was a grace. The witches came and tried to hex me. They sped blood out in front of the church. And the more they tried to curse me, the more God blessed me. It was a grace. I remember telling the witches, you should have cooked that chicken. Oh. Some of y'all remember when I said, you should have cooked that chicken. I danced over the witch's blood and kept on preaching. It was a grace. It was a grace. Some of the blessings that happened to you, it wasn't because you were smart. It wasn't because you were talented. It wasn't because you were special. It wasn't because you were holy. You stepped into a supernatural grace from God. That's why you can't look down your nose at other people who didn't make it, because if it were not for the grace of God, you'd be sleeping up under a bridge right now. Somebody praise him for grace. You're standing in grace. You're sitting in grace. This was nothing but grass where this building is right now. But we started rebuking the cows that was over there in the cow pasture and claiming the land you parking on right now. I spoke to the wall and told it, get out of my way. We burst through the wall and built this building. You are sitting in the grace, the unmerited favor of God right now. We paid this building off in 3 years. Burned the mortgage on it. I can't even remember how much it was. Multi-million dollars, 40-something million dollars, I believe. $48 million. Burned the mortgage in 3 years. Bank president came to see how it happened. It was a grace. Money was coming from every direction. It was a grace. When God gives you a grace, he sets you in the sun. No weapon formed against you can prosper. No devil talking about you can stop it. The gossipers cannot kill you. The witches cannot destroy you. It was a grace. My wife and I were going off to preach somewhere. We were ministering somewhere, and my mother-in-law got sick. And she got sick, and she was saying, I'm not breathing good. I'm not feeling good. And we said, we'll be back home. We're doing this meeting. I can't remember what city we were in. And we'll be back home shortly. And when we got back home, she was on life support. In 2 weeks, she was dead. The deceptive nature of grace makes you think that if you're walking in grace, you don't have to pay nothing. So my wife's mother, her best friend, her confidant, the one she trusted in a new city with new people, with little kids, her backup, her plan, her strategy, died. Gone. Strong as an ox 1 minute. Going all over the church, planning communion services. Fussing because stuff was dusty. Sweeping up in the rafters. Straight helping Bishop get it done. 2 weeks dead. We buried her. Almost 2 years later, my mother died. How could that happen? How could that happen? How could you have grace and trouble? When her mother died, it was a terrible blow. I wrote something in the obituary I still can't read today. The loss of her mother, I can't even articulate. I don't even want to talk about it long. It was horrible. Counting on her. Practically lived in our house. Not the typical mother-in-law at all. All of our backup gone. When her mother died, it was horrible. When my mother died, it was indescribable. Back to back. But before she died, she lost her speech. She lost her ability to swallow. She lost her memory. I'm changing her clothes. I'm cleaning her up and preaching the gospel. I'm preaching the gospel and coming home and trying to get her to swallow applesauce and setting her on the toilet. Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, and come home and I'm all over the television sets. I'm writing books. I'm in the hospital typing books while she's passing away. And then she died. And I almost lost control of the whole thing. And while I was bleeding, my 13-year-old daughter came in and told us she was pregnant. I'm talking about the threshing floor. I'm talking about I'm talking about, some of y'all know what I'm talking about. See, some of you don't understand yet what I'm talking about, but some of you know what I'm talking about, and all hell is breaking loose, and it feels like somebody got a hammer up against both sides of your head, and your head is going to pop up under the pressure, and you say, this is favor? This is grace? This is grace. The Dallas Morning News was out here every week trying to get one of the members to say something about my daughter being pregnant. Not one of my members would give them an interview. Not one, not one, not one, not one. So I'm at the threshing floor. And I've come to that place that grace will always bring you, where you got to pay something for it. You got to pay something. It's pay up time. It's put up or shut up. It's endurance time. It's affliction time. It's struggle time. It's a time where grace doesn't look gracious. David is at that point, after being anointed, after being lifted, after being raised, after conquering. Now grace doesn't look gracious. People are dead. They're dead and they're dying everywhere. They're going down, dropping like flies. And David has come to the threshing floor of Arona, and David is being threshed himself. And he comes to Arona, because sooner or later an invoice is going to come for every grace in your life. Sooner or later, mark my words, sooner or later, you're going to have to pay up to be what came easy. That's what separates the men from the boys. Anybody can go when the grace is being poured out on you. But when it looks like you went from blessed to cursed, and God says, how you like me now? When David comes to the threshing floor of Arona, it's the threshing floor meeting the threshing floor. It's a beat down meeting a beat down. It's wheat against wheat. And David comes with the angel behind him. Now, this is not a nice angel. The sword of the angel is out. The reason Aruna is ready to give him everything, the Bible says Aruna saw the angel. Aruna saw the angel. He said, look, man, you can have the threshing floor. You can have the wheat. You can have whatever you need. I'm with you, bruh, in this struggle. Don't worry about nothing. You can take all of this stuff and you can have it right now. I won't charge you nothing. Oh, king, you can have it. He's given it to the king, and he's seeing the angel. And David recognizes, I must pass this test. I cannot flunk again. I cannot get this wrong again. If you give me the offering, did I really offer it up? If it comes too easy, does it mean anything? How can I offer God something that costs me nothing? Especially, Michael, when God can be touched by the feeling of my infirmity. How can I offer him something that I can't feel? If what touches God is my feeling about it, how can I offer him something that I have no attachment to? It's easy to be generous with other folks' money. So they have this conversation. Can I preach this? Watch this. Araunah's trying to give him everything. They're trying to stop the plague. Got to stop this plague. Got to stop this plague. This is a very important message. Because there's somebody in this room, you're trying to stop a plague. It's already gotten a lot of stuff. And before it gets everything, you got to stop the plague. That's why you had to be here this morning. Because the Lord wants to show you how to stop the plague before it gets to Jerusalem. Araunah says, man, I'll give you all of it. We got to stop this plague. And David says, no, I got to pay full price for this. Don't put it on sale. Don't mark it down. Don't make it easy. I got to pass this test once and for all. He says, I will not offer to God something that costs me nothing. Just because I received it by grace doesn't mean I can keep it by grace. Just because he placed me in Dallas doesn't mean that I didn't have to suffer. You see, the threshing floor, you still got to go through the threshing floor to become God's man. For you to sit down and have power when you sit and power when you stand. I can't give you everything on credit. Because your experience is too important to be missed. There are certain things that you can only learn about God through suffering. Oh, help me preach it, Lord. Help me preach it today, Lord. You cannot run down this aisle and get disanointed by me laying hands on you. Oh no, the devil is a lie. It costs more than that. You have to cry longer than that. You have to suffer longer than that. You got to feel like blowing your brains out sometime. You got to crawl up in a corner and cry till you get dry heaves sometime. And after you've suffered a while, oh, you can't get this because you run with me. No, you can't run with me and get this. You got to cry with me and crawl with me and curl up in a corner and die with me. Throw your hands up and be frustrated with me. And feel like you can't take another day with me. And after you've suffered a while, when you say Jesus, demons gonna tremble. They're not gonna tremble just because you imitating me. You can buy my suits, you can wear my clothes, you can talk like me, you can move like me, but until you cried like me, till you crawled up and died like me, you ain't a wife because I put a ring on you. You ain't don't know nothing about being no wife. You got the name in a flash, but you're going to spend the next 10 decades earning it, crawling through it, paying full price. Respect is never given. It must be earned. It is never given. It must be earned. It must be earned. It must be earned. And just because you got a little kickoff by grace, don't mean you have to pay don't have to pay the bill. David said, I'm gonna pay full price. So he said, watch this, y'all. They're negotiating. They're negotiating. These two men are negotiating. And God is watching to see what David values. How much would you pay to get out of this mess? How much are you willing to change to see a breakthrough? The angel is standing there with his sword stretched out to do some more killing. The prophet who told him to go is watching from the corner. And the two men are having this conversation, and they're arguing over who's going to give it. And Aruna says, I'll do it. I'll give it all. They said, no, I can't feel that. I can't feel that. How is it a sacrifice if you can't feel it? I know you want everything to be real easy and convenient because it started out real easy and convenient, but how is it a sacrifice if you can't feel it? David says, not only am I going to pay, but I'm going to pay full price. Don't mark it down. Don't put it on sale. Throw it on me. It is what it is. I'm going to do my own crime. Do my own suffering. My daughter told me she was pregnant. I cried for 3 weeks. I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't even talk to nobody. Nauseated. How could that happen? Never even been on a date. How could that happen? Watching over you like a hawk. How could that happen? On a national platform. How could this happen? Standing for God. How could this happen? Snatching other folks' kids out of trouble. How could this happen? Oh, y'all don't want to talk to me. How could this happen? How could you bless me to let the church go up while my mama went down? If you had enough power to do this, oh, I'm looking for some real people this morning. What do you do when the story ain't going the way you thought it was going to go? What do you do when you're losing in public? David is supposed to be king, and the kingdom is dying. Everything under him is falling apart. And they negotiate because he has to prove to God that that which has been given to him is valuable to him. Did you hear that? That which has been given to him freely by grace is valuable enough to be substantiated by your experience. He says, I'm going to pay the full price. So the Bible says that David said, I'm going to give you 600 shekels of gold. If you study it, there are two renderings of this text, and the prices differentiate one from another because there's actually two transactions. He's buying up all the land around the threshing floor, and then he buys up the articles of the threshing floor, which totals out to 600 shekels of gold. So he bought the wood he was going to offer. He bought the wheat for the wheat offering. He bought the offerings that he was going, and he did it with 600 shekels of gold. So I did some calculations on the shekels of gold compared to the economy we're in right now. It would be comparable to $600,000. $600,000 he paid to stop the plague. He says, I'm going to pay $600,000 to get this stuff, only to turn around and give it to God. Can I give me just a minute with this? It looks like he's just buying the threshing floor, but the threshing floor is on Mount Moriah. The threshing floor is on Mount Moriah. We've heard of Mount Moriah. That's where Abraham offered up Isaac. The threshing floor is on Mount Moriah. That's where David would ultimately build, Solomon would ultimately build the temple. It would end up becoming the most holy site in the world to this day. And God brought David to this point through personal pain and personal sacrifice. And he thinks he's just stopping the plague, but he's also buying the prophecy. Wow. That everything major that would happen between man and God throughout the preponderance of scriptures what happened in this spot of the threshing floor. And David says, I have to pay full price. Watch this. Watch this. And there on the threshing floor, David stops the hand of the angel from executing any more pain. Watch this. Watch this. Touch three people and say, it's going to cost something to fix this. It's going to cost. It's going to cost something. You're not going to dance this out. Every day of my life, every day of my life, every day of my life, I'm paying. Every tear, every struggle, every disgrace, every agony, every lonely night, every painful moment. Why? Because he's made us a living I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your body a living sacrifice. Why am I going through this? Because it's going to cost something. To stop the plague that plagued your family, to break the curse that came out of your community, to stop the attack that the enemy has launched against you. 600 golden shekels. David started pulling out and playing a ruler. God told me to tell you, greatness costs what it costs. He said it's not going on sale and it's not going to be marked down. There will be no discount. There will be no buy one, get one free. Every day of your life, every day of your life, every day of your life, every tear you shed, every cross you carry, every burden you endure, all on the altar. I surrender all of it, all of it, all of it, whatever it takes for my will to break. It's all yours. I'm emptying out my storage. Everything is sold out. Whatever it takes. I'm tired of lying to myself. I'm tired of playing games. I'm tired of waiting on freebies and shortcuts and easy transitions. Whatever I gotta go through, I'm gonna break this curse. I'm gonna break it today. If I gotta cry my way out, if I gotta humble myself, I'm gonna pay the full price. And the angel is standing there with his sword drawn to execute judgment. And when David had emptied out his bag, God told the angel, put your sword up. I preached this morning the deceptive nature of grace. Because just because something starts easy doesn't mean it's going to finish easy. Somewhere along the way, you just got to stand straight up to it. Somewhere along the way, you got to stop waiting on the next free lunch. Somewhere along the way, you got to wipe the tears out of your face and say, though he slay me, yet shall shall I trust? The devil told me, and I'm sure he told my wife too, if you was any kind of parents at all, if you was worth anything at all, that wouldn't have happened to you. That's your fault. You're stupid. You're out there helping other people. Look at you. Look at you. Look at you. Everybody's talking about you. Look at you. Look at what happened to her. You're supposed to be protecting her. Look at what happened to her. Look at that. I thought she was anointed. I thought she was gifted. I thought she was called. I thought she was set aside. I thought the hand of God was on your life. You couldn't even save your mama. Look at you. Look at you. Look at you. Look at your daughter. Look at your wife weeping. Her mama is gone. Your mama's gone. Maybe God didn't send you to Dallas. You should have stayed where you came from. But though he slay me, yet shall. You're talking about keeping it real? I'm going to keep it real with you. Keep it real with you. The Bible said after you suffered a while, I'll establish you and make you perfect. That's why ain't nobody coming in here gonna run me up out of here till God says, well done. Ain't nobody, rich or poor or black or white, ain't nobody. Because when you pay full price, you don't let nobody run you home. When you pay full price, you don't let nobody send you away. When you pay full price, I had no idea when I was having my 3 weeks of total depression. Total depression. I sat over there one Sunday, and Pastor Val was directing the choir, and she said, I never will forget as long as I live. She said, I don't know what you're going through, Bishop, but we got your back. I almost collapsed. She don't know it. I almost collapsed on stage. I almost collapsed on the stage. Never knowing that that same stage and that same daughter that the place of your greatest agony will also be the place of your greatest ministry. That the area where you paid the greatest price and made the biggest sacrifice will be the same place where God will release the ultimate success in your life, and everything you paid for it, everything you gave for it, everything you walked away from to get it. Somebody asked me the other day, would you do it again? I said, absolutely. 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 When I saw what was on the other side of the story, absolutely. And the Lord told me that, and I'm trying, Lord. He told me to tell you, don't let the grace deceive you. There's a price to this thing. There's a price. You say you ain't gonna take it. You ain't got no choice. Shut your mouth. You don't have no choice. You got to take it. You got to take it. There ain't no other way. Jesus tried to find another way. Father, if it be thy will, pass this bitter cup from me. Can I get there without paying full price? God said no. It costs what it costs. And they drove nails in his hands and they drove nails into his feet. And yes, you got it free, but he paid. He paid the price. All around this room, all around this room, everybody in this room, you paying something. It don't come easy. And it's gonna pay, you're gonna pay where it hurts. All this fancy dancing and big high stepping stuff, that ain't praise. That's cute, but that ain't praise. All that tambourine busting and stuff, that ain't praise. Praise is being faithful when your heart is broken. Praise is staying when you want to run and quit. Praise is going through when it looks like it's not working. Praise is being consistent when you're embarrassed. Praise is holding on when it looks like you're going backwards instead of forwards. By him, therefore, let us offer the sacrifice of praise. I feel ministry in this room right now. I feel a glory cloud sitting up in this place right now. And I'm not even worried about who didn't get it, because I got a feeling that those who needed it, you're receiving it right now. To him whom much is given, much is required. And every day, it's going to cost you something to be you. Every day, you're going to pay a price. You're going to pay something every day. You're going to pay something every day. You're going to pay something every day, or you don't get to go. If you don't make the price, you don't stop the plague. Go and take the shortcut. Go and be stubborn. Go on, be stubborn. Do it your way. How many people gonna have to die for you to change your ways? How many dumb things are you gonna have to do for a change to come? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? God forbid. God says, do you think I'm going to let you play me? That you're going to do whatever you want to do and I'm just going to bless you anyway? Do you think you're not going to learn this lesson today? You're going to learn this lesson. You're going to take this class today. You think I'm just going to keep giving you stuff to blow?